Move on down to Arizona State. Now, there is plenty of optimism for the Sun Devils. They have not been a good team. They weren't a good team last year, right? 3-9, 2-7 in conference play. Two 4-game losing streaks. They lost to Stanford 15-14, but they beat Washington 45-38. They ruined the Huskies season. Now they do have Kenny Dillingham coming down from Oregon. He's an Arizona State alum. He loves this program. He's ready to take this program over. He brings in Bo Baldwin as the offensive coordinator, Brian Ward as the defensive coordinator. There are some question marks about the hiring of Baldwin because while he had a lot of success at Eastern Washington in the early 2010s, most recently, his offense at Cal was terrible. And so for him to bring Baldwin in, this high-powered offensive mind, and not maybe set them up for the best possible success, I'm concerned about that. They don't have a starter nailed down right now. You've got Drew Pine, Trenton Beret, I think is how you say his last name. I'll be honest, I've forgotten how to say his last name. And freshman Jaden Rashada, who will form the three quarterbacks competing for this starting job. Cameron Scatabo comes over from Sacramento State. He was 8th in the FCS in rushing last year. And then the wide receivers, they actually have some fun names. They've got Elijah Badger, who is the top target a season ago, 866 yards, 7 touchdowns. They've got Xavier Guillory coming over from Idaho State. He was an all-conference performer there. And then Jalen Connors, tight end, had 32 catches and 5 touchdowns last season. So some good weapons for whoever this quarterback might be. The question is just, do you go with Drew Pine, the transfer from Notre Dame? Do you go with the incumbent, or do you give Jaden Rashada a pick? The defense, I'm concerned about. They gave up over 31 points a game last year. They have a couple of edge rushers that transfer in from the Big 12, and Clayton Smith from OU, Prince Dorba from Texas. The defensive backs could be decent. You've got Roe Torrance, who's on breakout watch. Jordan Clark is your multi-year starter at nickelback. And then you have Xavier Alford, who was a kid I covered in high school from Shadow Creek down in the Houston area. He went to USC as a safety, but now is transferred down. So all that to say, skill position players should be a whole lot of fun, offense and defense. It's a very thin offensive line group. And for that reason, I'm very dubious that Arizona State, putting all these transfers together, putting in a new offense, a new offensive system, they're going from a very conservative pro style to more of the up-tempo, spread it out. This year isn't going to be Arizona State's year. I think the floor is somewhere around 3-9. I think the ceiling is a bowl game. I'm going to predict them to just miss a bowl game, but they're progressing towards something better. I do think Dillingham's going to turn that program around.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Dillingham's a great coach. I think he's going to do good things there. I can't say it this year because based on where last year left them, that roster just was torched and there wasn't a whole lot going on. He's done a great job bringing the guys in that he was getting. To get Drew Pine, I think is actually a really solid move. I know that he wasn't going to start at Notre Dame this year. I get that. But to be able to go get him when he probably had a few other offers that maybe would have been better names in terms of just national perception, I think being able to go get him is a really solid pickup. Of course, they gave Jaden Rashada all of their money. And so you might have to play him just out of some kind of financial obligation or just to get a return on your investment. I don't know if they understand the sunk cost fallacy at Arizona State, but it's with so many good teams in the Pac-12, somewhere there has to be a breaking point. I think Arizona State loses some of those games, but among the low tier teams, I actually think Arizona State's a pretty solid team. I have them going 4-8. I do think that they'll beat. Gosh, who did I pick them to beat? I picked them to beat Arizona at the end of the year. I have them beating Cal, and then I don't think they get Stanford, so I would have picked them over Stanford if they would have gotten them. But they don't have necessarily the easiest schedule in the whole wide world either. I think I will pick them to beat Fresno State and Southern Utah, get their 4 wins. And I think that this is a different situation than Cal, right? Where with Cal, I was saying they're heading in the wrong direction. No reason to be excited. I think that's different here. I think there's lots of reasons to be excited if you're Arizona State. I just think you have to, again, be a little bit patient, temper those expectations, and make sure that you get where you're trying to go.
It's a great line set at 4.5. I think that 5-win, 4-win mark is exactly where Arizona State ends up this year. The back half is tough. Washington, Wazoo, Utah, UCLA, Oregon, Arizona. That's a tough finish to the season. So again, Sun Devil fans, I think you should be encouraged. I think you're going in the right direction. This year could be a learning moment.
Gracious, how about